the worship of God by faith, hope, charity, and true religion. It commands us to believe firmly in God and in His Word, to learn what He has taught, and to profess our belief. It bids us also to trust or hope in God, to love Him, and to adore Him by prayer and sacrifice. Sins against faith. Therefore, all forms of false religion, all those not established by God Himself, are forbidden. It is obviously wrong to maintain that religions established by men, with no divine authority or mission, are equal to that which was established by God. One religion is not as good as another. When it is certain that God has revealed something to us, it is sinful to willfully doubt it or to disbelieve it. The latter is rebellion against God, arising from pride. Nor may one pick and choose his beliefs. Everything revealed by God must be accepted by everyone. Moreover, men have the duty to find out God's revelations. Ignorance of religion is one of the greatest evils in the modern world. Even many Catholics are not innocent in this matter. All have the duty of knowing their religion. If ignorance is due to one's own fault or neglect, it is sinful. And if it is a serious fault or neglect, it would be mortally sinful. Faith is man's greatest gift. If he loses it, he loses his greatest treasure. And experience proves that once a person loses the gift of faith, it is very difficult to get it back. Willfully to expose oneself to the danger of losing the faith would be a grievous sin. We expose ourselves to the danger of losing our faith by A. Committing sin, especially mortal sin. When a person sins, he has to lie to himself and say that what he is doing is not a sin, or that the sin is not so bad as the church maintains, or that God will understand. To live habitually in sin, especially mortal sin, is to live with these rationalizations in one's mind, which, being lies, will eventually subvert one's belief in the truth revealed by God. B. Failing to pray. It is a teaching of the faith that a person will only save his soul through the grace of God, and that God will only give this grace if a person asks for it. Therefore, we must pray in order to save our souls. We must ask God for His help to achieve this goal. Quote, according to the ordinary course of divine providence, man cannot be saved without prayer. Father Michael Muller, CSSR. CF, also St. Alphonsus Liguori, on the necessity of prayer. C. Failing to study our faith. True religion is a subject of study. Just like any other subject, we cannot really know the faith unless we continue to learn about it. The knowledge of our holy religion acquired when we were children, or when we first heard of the faith, will not be sufficient to serve us as adults. After all, no one in his right mind would allow a physician to remove his appendix who had not studied medicine beyond 12th grade in high school, and who had never consulted a medical book since. Since we are the primary doctors of our own souls, so must we continue to study the true religion to keep ever in mind what is required to be saved. Our faith must grow as we grow, and as we become more worldly wise and more learned in our various secular professions. Our knowledge of the faith needs to grow within us, and also be refreshed and augmented as we advance in other knowledge. Otherwise, we risk losing our faith through lack of adequate knowledge of it. D. Neglecting our spiritual duties. A machine left idle will rust and become useless. The sacraments are the sources of grace. Confession will enable a person in mortal sin to regain the life of sanctifying grace in his soul, or help him to achieve an increase of grace if he has committed only venial sins. It will also help him overcome his sins and resist temptations. Holy Communion is the food of the soul, giving the strength necessary to grow in virtue. Neglect of the sacraments, especially of Holy Communion, means that the soul is spiritually starved. E. Reading bad books. Bad books include those against religion and morality. Bad literature is very common nowadays, especially novels describing immorality in either a veiled or open way. Parents should be particularly careful to safeguard their children against bad reading. Magazines and newspapers are also a danger in this regard. F.